Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to show you something that's quite different when doing decoupage on glass. I'm using a glass bowl to do reverse decoupage showing from the inside and then another one showing from the outside. I saw this video for the artist Vivica Moller. She's a Swedish artist, and I was inspired by this video to create this new piece. I'm using this beautiful flower that I found on a shopping bag for a clothes shop. And I really loved the colors and the way the flower looked. I'm now going to cut around the flower and remove any of the black color so that the flower is totally dissected. I'm using a very small pair of scissors and going around the flower. Try to be very meticulous with your cutting. When we are cutting the paper, we try to move the paper and not move the scissors themselves as much as possible. Now our flower is cut and we will go to the next step. I decided not to do decoupage as a first layer, and I wanted to use a stencil instead. I'm using this stencil from Stamperia, and I'm going to use these hybrid multi-surface colors from Cadence. They work on any surface. They just need to be shaken before use. And I chose these three colors. I love them. I think they complement each other, and I think they go very well with the flower that's going to be on the outside. The stencil I'm using is, as I said, from Stamperia. This is a very thin stencil, and it's mainly for curved surfaces. And it will show from the inside. Just elevate your bowl over the surface that you're working on, and I'm going to tape my stencil in place using masking tape. Now we are ready to work. Here I got a sponge. This is a normal dish washing sponge, and I'm going to take my first color and offload my sponge and then start dabbing on the surface so that the color goes through the stencil. Now this stencil is very, the motif is very fine, so you really need to dab to make sure that the color passes through. And at the same time, you need to offload your sponge very well so that the color doesn't seep under your stencil. I started mixing the colors, so interchanging between one color and another, because I really wanted this mixture of the three colors. I didn't want them to mix completely, but I wanted to be there is a transition between one color and another. And these are this combination is one of my favorite. Now remove your stencil, and we're gonna take a look on the inside. This is what is going to appear. There's a little bit of reflection of the glass, but you'll see later when I'm done with it all. So now I continue the rest of my bowl, and this is how it looks from the inside. I think it's really beautiful and cool and very simple, yet very chic. Now I'm going to use Mirror Effect by Rustolium. You have to shake it very well and use it in a very well ventilated area because the smell is really strong. When you are spraying, place your can around 15 centimeters away from your bowl. Try to do thin, light coats, multiple if you want, depending on the degree of shine you want. Now, quickly, I'm going to get a paper towel and start a tissue and start dabbing at the extra. And I wanted to remove the mirror effect a little bit so that it will look like an antique mirror when we do the next step. Our next step is applying black gesso. Here I applied actually 2 coats, and be very generous with your gesso. And we need a dark surface behind our mirror effect, because this is what a normal mirror would look like, and this is what it takes for reflection. Now see, because I wiped some of the mirror effect away, this is the way it looks like an antique mirror. Now I'm doing decoupage on the outside of my bowl, and I chose this gift wrapping paper as a background for the flowers that I chose before. So to be able to cover the whole surface, the paper is cut into strips. I used my ruler, the width of the ruler itself, so that I can have equal strips. This is easier this way. Now I'm going to apply my Mod Podge on the strip itself, and be generous because this paper is thick and it needs a good amount of glue. Now I'm going to place my paper this way, as you see. Make very sure that the edge, the lower edge, is very well in place and glued very well, because if it's going to come off, it's going to be at the edges. This is a wet cotton rag. It's an old t-shirt that I used, and I'm using it to make sure that my paper is in place, get any air bubbles out, and any extra glue outside. I don't want, because any extra glue will cause like small blobs, and of course the bubbles, if there is air, there will be bubbles, and it's really not nice to try and fix that. It is fixable, but why fix something that you can avoid in the first place? Now, the trick is when you are applying the next strips of paper, they cannot be beside each other. Otherwise, you will end up with gaps. So the thing is, you need to apply. I apply glue on top, as you can see. This actually wasn't in the original method, but I wanted to make sure that my strips were in place. So as I said, now I'm going to place my second strip. Same, I put my Mod Podge on top. It is better that you have like a piece of baking paper beside you to glue, to apply the glue, as I'm doing now. But I just wanted the paper to be very close to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, this is the trickiest part, and this is very crucial for the success of this method. When applying the second strip, the paper should overlap at the edge just a little bit, while at the top edge, the overlap will be more, as you can see. So at the lower edge, the overlap is just barely there, but on top it is more. Now again, I get my wet cloth and start dabbing again, making sure that I glued it very well into place, especially, as I said, the edges, and make sure there are no air bubbles. Now at the curve of the bowl, sometimes the paper can be a little bit hard to glue, so at this place that I'm dabbing at right now, you can make a little cut with your scissors and glue. The gluing will be much more easy. And that's what I did after my third and fourth strip, I think, because at the beginning it was easier. When the paper starts building, it is a little bit harder. I'm going to show you one last strip in real time, and then I will fast forward the rest. Again, apply your glue generously on your strip. Make sure it is covered very well. And as I said, please pay attention to your edges. It's very important. And here we don't wet the paper, because usually we wet the paper before applying it for the thick papers. But here we don't do that. Your paper will just be friable. And then I see this edge is the one I'm talking about. So I try to dab at it that way. But when I go when I progress with the strips of paper, this becomes really hard and annoying, and I start making cuts at that point. And we, as I said, we don't wet the paper before. So now using also the damp cloth is sort of as if you're wetting your paper. And then again, I apply a layer of Mod Podge on top. Now I will go around the whole bowl in the same technique, exactly, as you can see. Now, after I'm finished, I apply 2 layers of Mod Podge and let them dry completely. Here I'm going to apply my beautiful flowers. This is how it looks like from the inside and outside, and I thought the flowers look very beautiful, and they made the colors pop because I needed something to complement the blues. And there's also, don't forget, there's a little bit of pink color when I was using the stencil. Now, to remove the extra paper, we're using a cutter or an X-Acto knife. I'm just going to go around the whole bowl with the cutter. Your cutter blade should be touching the glass so that you can get it all off. It is not easy to do it with sanding paper like the usual method. The paper is thick and you don't want to risk the paper coming off. Afterwards, I mean, if you have a little bit of a piece of paper after cutting with your cutter that is a little bit short, you can use sanding paper to make your edges even. And now this is how it looks from the outside. This is how it looks from the inside. I think it's really cool, and from the outside. And the great thing is you can use this bowl to serve something in it. It's not a decorative piece only. Now I just decide now how I'm going to place my flowers, how I like them to be facing, will they look up, will they look down. It is very important that you decide that, and the distribution of your flowers. I'm gonna get my first flower, put it in water. This is just normal tap water. This makes the paper more pliable to work with. I'm going just to dry it so the water is not dripping or anything. That way it will not stick very well. Dry it on both sides. And then we proceed to gluing. Now this is important. The direction of your flower is very important because we're working on the bowl when it's upside down. So if we glue it this way, the flower will be looking down, and this is against the direction of the bowl, unless you are going to place one flower that way and the other in a different way, the opposite way. But I wanted my flowers to be facing up that way, so I'm going to apply glue on the surface, on the place I'm going to apply my flower on, and then I'm going to apply glue also on the back of the flower. This way I ensure that it's going to adhere very well, because as I said, the paper is very thick. Not very, but it is thick. Not like napkins or rice paper. And now I'm going to apply my paper, and then again, get the wet rag and just try to just take all the air bubbles out and the extra glue out. And now it's glued in place very well. I go around the whole bowl. And now it's time to apply our top coat. Now we have more than one option. We have a water-based varnish. It can be any brand you want. I know it's water-based and people think that it will come off when we were washing the bowl. If you add like 6 layers, it won't. And you can add the wash it. It is by Stamperia. It is water-based product, but it gives protection against water. You can apply 2 or 3 coats and you have full protection. Now we have another option, which is the solvent-based varnish, and these also are by Pentart. The yellow one on the right side here is actually polyurethane. But the problem with polyurethane is that it gets it gets more yellow by time. So the yellowing is really not what you're going for. I apply it when I'm applying it on dark surfaces like a black color or a brown color or even a gold color, when it won't matter. But then again, the same brand have this beautiful varnish. It comes in a matte finish and a glossy finish. The matte is, as you say, cloudy that way. You have to shake it very well. And the advantage of this varnish is that it doesn't yellow by time, so you can apply it on light colors, white, off-white, any other light color. And it will give full protection against water. And now this is our finished product. I love this project very much. It's very nice. I hope you like the technique. I hope you like the video. I hope you try it and send me photos. And I hope to see you again in a new video. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you later.